Last week, we also reviewed what pollution-generating surfaces are and how pollutants enter our storm and surface water. To reduce the amount of pollutants entering our surface water, Core Requirement 8, Water Quality Treatment, makes projects treat stormwater that comes from pollution-generating surfaces, such as roads. There are 3 levels of water quality treatment specified in the 2016 King County Surface Water Design Manual. There's Basic, Sensitive Lake, and Sphagnum Bog. Sammamish also has additional requirements for areas that drain to Pine and Beaver Lake. This map, adopted in the Sammamish Addendum, shows the water quality treatment level required in each of Sammamish's drainage basins. Basic water quality treatment, required in the northeast basins of Sammamish, requires sites to remove suspended solids like soil and dirt from stormwater runoff. All basins draining to Lake Sammamish require sensitive lake water quality treatment, which requires sites to remove solids and also reduce phosphorus, which contributes to unhealthy algae blooms in surface water. Development projects around Pine and Beaver Lake, in purple, must remove additional phosphorus to protect lake health. Sphagnum bog treatment requires unique treatment of stormwater to preserve the health of the bogs and their unique water chemistry. Last week, we also reviewed flow control BMPs, also referred to as Low Impact Development, or LID BMPs. Flow control BMPs are stormwater infrastructure that mimic natural hydrologic processes, dispersing, infiltrating, or otherwise reducing the amount of stormwater runoff from a developed site. Depending on the project size, type, and location, sites must direct a certain percentage of their stormwater to flow control BMPs, thereby reducing the amount of stormwater leaving the site as runoff. Stormwater LID BMPs, or flow control BMPs, typically handle stormwater and dispose of it on-site for smaller rain events, from 8% to 50% of the 2-year storm, thereby reducing the total volume of stormwater leaving the site. Most projects in Sammamish go through drainage review and have to show how their project meets the 9 core requirements. Sometimes, however, projects qualify for exemptions to the core requirements or request adjustments to change their drainage design. I'll discuss both. In some cases, particularly for smaller projects, the manual will exempt a project from having to meet a core requirement, typically because of financial reasons or because meeting the core requirement is not possible for these small projects. The manual sets conditions that must be met to get an exemption. One example is with core requirement number 3, the flow control requirement. If a project creates less than 5,000 square feet of new impervious, and this is about the amount of a large single-family home plus its driveway, it does not have to meet the flow control requirement. This makes sense, as you don't often have entire stormwater ponds for single properties. In 2019, City Council amended SMC Title 13, our stormwater code, to give no exemptions in critical drainage areas. These are our landslide hazard drainage areas on slopes, as well as areas that drain to Pine and Beaver Lake. The code gives the Public Works Director authority to approve exemption requests only in specific circumstances, when large trees would have to be removed or slopes would be destabilized in order to build a stormwater facility. In this way, the 2019 code amendments protect our land and surface water from extra stormwater and set transparent criteria for granting exemptions on a case-by-case basis. Sometimes it's not possible for applicants to completely meet a core requirement in the Surface Water Design Manual, even with exemptions. When this happens, applicants submit an adjustment or drainage adjustment, which is a request to vary from the manual. They also submit an alternate plan to meet the intent of the core requirement. The alternate plan must produce a compensating and comparable result to the manual, and must consider safety, functionality, and other criteria. Only the Director of Public Works can approve drainage adjustments. For context, only about 15 adjustment requests have been approved in the last 4 years. An example of an adjustment request might be from an applicant who would request an adjustment from core requirement number 8, the water quality treatment core requirement. Instead of building a treatment facility approved in the manual, the applicant might request to build an alternate facility, not approved in the manual, but still able to remove pollutants. City Council can amend stormwater rules and has amended stormwater rules multiple times in the past. City Council has already adopted different rules in critical drainage areas in 2019, as I noted before. The 2019 code amendments also set guidance for staff to grant exemptions to core requirements. Another example of council-adopted stormwater rules is the volume matching requirement for town center. In 2010, interim stormwater standards were adopted for the town center subarea. The standard required 100% volume matching of stormwater leaving the site in the pre- and post-developed conditions, or to the maximum extent feasible. Council's intent with this was to encourage the use of LID BMPs on sites, which does reduce stormwater volumes leaving the site. In 2010, LID BMPs were not required in our surface water design manual, so this code was Council's attempt to get ahead of the manual. The interim standards were meant to be temporary until the manual incorporated LID BMPs. In 2013, the then Council reduced the volume matching standard to 60%, with the goal of achieving 80% matching where feasible. In 2016, Council adopted the 2016 King County Surface Water Design Manual. This manual was the first to require flow control BMPs or LID BMPs for sites. Thus, with the adoption of the manual, the interim stormwater standards with volume matching had met the criteria to be repealed. These are just some examples of the various stormwater rules Council has adopted in the past. In conclusion, this video covered where stormwater rules originate at the federal and state level. It explained how the 2016 King County Surface Water Design Manual and the Sammamish Addendum were adopted, how they comply with state stormwater rules, and what's in both of those documents. We also covered some of the key rules in the Surface Water Design Manual, including drainage review and the 9 core requirements, as well as exemptions and adjustments to the core requirements. This video prepares Council and staff to work together to discuss directions for future code amendments and changes to stormwater rules and policies.